Hello and welcome to our podcast. So today we are delighted to introduce to our seasoned expert in SAP financial modules, Lewis. With an impressive of 24 years plus tenure in industries like raging oil and gas to public sector, Lewis brings a wealth of knowledge in the modules like FI and CO. His hands on experience as a business processes owner ensures alignment with both global and process and strict compliance standards like SOX. Based on his extensive work in various countries, particularly with Latin America, Lewis is a maestro in tailoring SAP solutions to local needs. He is not just a strategist but an implementer, having served as an SAP financial architect leader and a functional architect. An advocate for education and knowledge sharing, Lewis holds his Bachelor's of Arts degree in computer science and shares his expertise through consultancy training, augmenting operational procedures and user proficiency. So join us as we delve into how Lewis has played a pivotal role in SAP migration services, system configurations, leading crucial implementation projects like while continuously pushing the boundaries of SAP financial system to enhance functionality and user experience. So let's welcome Lewis and let's hear from him. Hi Lewis, how are you?
Good morning. Hello.
Good morning, you too. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Delighted to be here with you.
Thank you so much for coming. And as we had discussed this about this podcast quite a long time back, and I'm really excited to have you here and want to learn and know more about SAP, good and bad consultation on the subject we'll be talking about. So, before we start off with the series of questions that I need to ask you, could you just tell me more about how you started your professional journey and how when did you started in for the audience out there a little bit.
Okay. To be honest, this was an accident. When I started with SAP, SAP was not known. I mean, we're talking about 97, 97. I just came out with R3 was the next thing because SAP started with R2. Well, to be honest, R2 was the biggest option within Europe, and it was not known anywhere else. So I had the chief information officer for Latam. He was from Italy, and he decided that R3 was gonna be the next thing. So he said we're gonna implement within Latin America. We There were only few countries that have implemented, and we were one of the first companies within Latam to implement that. So they sent me to Canada to
Mhm.
train for 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, I saw 4 modules, and after that, my boss asked me, "Okay, how much do you learn? Are you ready to do an implementation?" And I was so scared because, to be honest, 4 weeks, I mean 2 weeks to learn four modules, it's too much. I mean, you take a month and you barely learn one module. So I said, "Oh my God, this is gonna be too tough." I mean, so I started with that. We did the implementation in the company that I was working, and that's how I started. And then after that, I kept on learning more countries, more modules, providing support, and this is how my career started with SAP, and it's been now 24 years with that.
Wow, that's actually the most interesting story I've heard about a consultant and expert from of SAP. So, would you mind if I dive into the questions right away?
Yes, go ahead, no problem.
Thank you so much. So, how do you become an like how do a person become an SAP consultant? Like, let's start from the scratch. So, as this topic is about good and bad about SAP consultant, tell me about how do you become an SAP consultant for the listeners out there.
Okay, so you will not follow what I did, which is you just drive into it without any knowledge. That's what I had to do because there was nothing else. Now we have I mean, I seen companies that are requesting or needing SAP consultants because the demand for SAP consultants right now is quite high because there's a lot of projects to be implemented, a lot of support. So the companies need somebody who's trained, okay, or and it will be great if that person has already had any experience as either a user or somebody who had experience with other ERPs, which are systems that are similar to SAP. So if you want to start with this career, having an SAP career, first you have to get training, get knowledge. So when they start talking about you saying, okay, I have this problem, or we need to solve this solution, what do we do? At least you know, okay, I might not know the full solution, but I know this is has to do with A or B and C, and then I'll start investigating a little more, get more prepared, and then you get into the problem and start solving it. Sometimes, even though with the experience that I have, there are modules that I don't know, or there are modules that are not such an expert, and but I need to understand what the problem is. So if I don't know, then I can go into SAP help desk, or I mean help web page, or into Google or anything, and start reading, and then trying to figure out from all that information that is there what is actually what you need versus what somebody else is thinking. So key here is training. Training will take you to the first step, which is getting a job.
So how does a person know their niche about, like, okay, someone who's good with who has done engineering, or someone who has just passed out from class 12th, or uh, like, how do they know their niche? Like, there are so many models of SAP. So how would a one person know that which modules are suitable for them or not?
That's a very good question. To be honest, I think there has to be like a feeling of, okay, what I'm dealing, what I will be, where what with what I'll be dealing with, I'm familiar with it. So, for example, in my side, I said, okay, I'm going into finance because my boss said, I don't have anybody from finance. I need somebody from finance. And I said, okay, fine, I'll take it. What else? But in this case, if you are somebody who's with sailing, or then you have the selling module. If you're like production, and then there's the PPQM, and there's another module. So you have to have a feeling. If you don't have a feeling, or you don't really like that area, or you don't feel any attraction with that, it's gonna be hard, because this is what you're gonna be dealing for a long time, almost a career on that. And if you don't like that, then you're in the wrong place. And sooner or later you're gonna say, I hate this, and I will not continue. So you gotta have a feeling with what will you be doing in the future.
All right. So my next question for you is, if someone would like to become a SAP consultant, what he will need to do or have, like, skills, education, financial resources, like?
Well, like I mentioned before, key is to have training, and for training, there's you have to make an investment. I know there's a lot of books on SAP on the internet that you may read, but eventually you will need to get hands-on experience on a server that has SAP configuration, and that will cost you some money. There are other companies that offer the services that they will give you training. They'll give you, you have a teacher that will help you out, and also after that you'll have somebody to guide you in the whole experience. Because to be honest, 1 month course, it's just give barely will give you the basic knowledge, so you can start tackling the problem, which is having understanding when there are issues, what flags you have to activate, which ones you have to inactivate. Is this a user problem and it's not an SAP system error or configuration problem? But I mean, there's so many things, so you got to understand that. That's one. The other one is like I said before, they also have a feeling with what you're doing. And say, to be honest, to me, every time that I get a call or a ticket or a case or an email saying, "Look, I have this problem," to me it's a challenge. Okay, I want to solve this. I want to make the life better of whoever is using the system. So I have empathy with what I'm doing. I like what I'm doing, so that's key. And the other one, it's okay, you're gonna be dealing with sometimes hard users, sometimes nice users, and and at the end, you know that what you're doing, it's gonna be important for you, for your family, for the people that you work with. So eventually there's so many things that you have to really think about it before buying a course or getting training, or saying okay, or giving whatever you're doing now to jump into an SAP career. So you gotta think really hard this and make sure that you have and will give you 100% to what you're coming to. Okay, so is it's a challenge that you have to be dealing with, but at the end, if you really like that, this is a whole career that you can have for many years.
All right. So my next question is, what do you do right now, and how is a typical day for you looks like? Like, if you could tell me a little bit about that.
Um, okay. Right now, I guess if we go into SAP, what's going on right now? There's SAP has dictated that the R3 platform is going to be giving support until year 2027. I think it is, in 3 years or 4 years, no, 2 years. So there's a lot of demand for SAP consultants to migrate to the latest S4 HANA version, which is the one that SAP is pushing for. So there's gonna be a lot of demand in the future, and the upcoming future. Right now, we have that. There's a lot of demand for users, but they want good users. I mean, I'm sorry, good consultants. So having that said, SAP is also introducing a lot of new functionality, and the one they have already released, they're making changes. So one thing that I always face is that what you already learned, you need to relearn again because SAP is making changes again. So part of the conflict or the difficulty when you're dealing with SAP is that you will always keep on learning, because every year there's going to be a new module. Any next version or next support package or next release from SAP, there's gonna be changes on what you already know. So it's like, my God, this was working before. Why is not working? What changed? And then you have to learn all over again.
But that is a good
So
thing.
something,
That is a very good thing that every year you learn, every year you know that the system has a version of its own, the product has a version of its own. So it's a good thing, right? Why is it a bad thing?
yeah, no, 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 no. It's a good thing, but like I said, it's a challenge for as a consultant that, my God, what I already know is not good enough. It's like, I mean, all over profession, like medicals or engineers, anything. There's new materials, new technology, new things, and you gotta learn it again. So
Right.
you know, right? And for example, there's this new module that SAP released for localization, which is the complying with fiscal authorities, and SAP still keeping changes. What I know from last version is not good enough for the next one. So it's like, my God, every time that I face like a black
God.
box that you don't know what's gonna happen, because I don't know what SAP is gonna change again. Okay, sometimes there are mistakes, sometimes it's new functionality, or sometimes they're just preparing for the next step, or the next thing they're gonna be releasing. So it's a always learning procedure. Okay, so if you don't like learning, SCP might not be for you. But if you keep challenges, this is what you have.
Okay, so now what that you said about something related to challenges, can you share something about the challenges you have faced with good and bad outcomes? If you could explain that a little bit.
Okay, I guess the life of an SAP consultant, sometimes we have good things and bad things. Okay, like any other career, I guess. The good things is learning, be able to help a company make a difference on a project, get congratulated by the company, saying, my God, you made a difference on this project, and we're very happy for you. Years ago, I had this I worked on this project, and the project manager and the general man. I mean, the finance manager. At the end of the project, I was saying goodbye to them because we did a great implementation, and they both think, "My God, thanks to you, this problem came to life. Had it not been for you, I don't know where we will be." So hearing that recognition from the people you work is great, and that's something that challenge you. Okay, I can do it. And then, because it was a hard project and there was a lot of things that I didn't know about the company, so I learned that. So I guess that's good if you get congratulated for the work you're doing, for learning new things, and for all the time you spend. So I guess those are the good things. You learn, you get more expertise, then you can take bigger challenges, go to different companies or different industries. So that's good. Now about the bad. Sometimes the bad is, my God, this project, people think, oh my God, you're the great consultant, the one who has all this knowledge. Oh my God, I want to be with you. But they don't know the time I spent reading, suffering from stress because I didn't know the solution. I have to find it, working long hours, 25th, I mean, all your holidays, birthdays with your families, special times. Sometimes you have to go away because you're in another country doing an
Right.
implementation, or you have this problem that you have to work. Some projects I have to work like 24 or 36 hours straight, not sleeping, trying to solve a problem. And sometimes saying, my God, when are you coming home? I said, I can't have this problem. So sometimes you have to sacrifice being with your family, being in another country. When you have a birthday, my son, one time I was working on Chile, and I was almost 7 months there. And the last time I have to go to Chile, he got so upset with me. He yelled at me. He told my wife that I had another family and I was living in another country and that I had left them. So that was horrible because he was so small and didn't understand that it was work. So sometimes you gotta be ready to give it up. So even though it's nice
Yeah.
traveling all the time because of work, it sometimes it's just
It's
takes a toll on you.
got it, got it. I hope your son is happy now, knowing that his dad
Ye-
works intensively, and his dad
Yeah,
has years of experience in this department. So one day he will understand particularly. All right. So
yes.
I'll jump on to the next question for you. So can you tell us more about what is a good of an SAP consultant and what is a bad of an SAP consultant? Like you said about the challenges and outcomes, right? So, what is the good qualities of an SAP consultant you're talking about, and what is a bad part of the consulting you can talk about? So, please, if you can elaborate on that.
Okay. I guess I'll base on my skills and what I've seen, and people have come to me saying thank you. Okay. So one thing that I always do is I put on somebody else's shoes. That is, I try to understand their problem. So when I go, usually I tell my users when they come to me with a problem, I start asking many questions, trying to fully understand what is their problem, because sometimes there's no problem and they're using the system wrongly, or sometimes there usually is a problem and I have to understand and ask more questions and ask more questions until I finally see, okay, now I understand. So if you don't understand the problem, you need to have that quality. You gotta understand the problem, because if not, then you not what no will not know what are you trying to solve. That's one thing. The other thing is, once you have to have empathy with the user, because when they come to me, they're really stressed because maybe their boss is asking, or they have a due date. Usually in finance, we have the end of month and end of year closing. So, and we have specific dates when we have to finish everything. Okay, because we have to report that, and eventually the company, if they're on the stock exchange, they have to provide reports and all that, and do consolidation. Bueno, all the activities that we do in the finance closing. So there's a stress that you have to deliver those dates. Okay. So part of that is understanding that you're going to be under a lot of stress,
Right.
that you have to provide solutions on time. And if not, then you got to provide a alternative plan or plan B that we know of it, so they'll know what to do. Okay. Sometimes plan B is not good enough. We got to solve it. So it's, you gotta know that you're gonna be working under a lot of pressure and you have to manage that pressure. Okay. And a third quality, I guess, that you will know, it's like I said at the beginning, you have to have love for this, because this is your I mean, this is your career. This is what it takes, and you have to investigate and be able to filter from all the information that you may have on Google or now the news chat GPT tool and all this artificial intelligence tools and everything else that is on SAP. There's good information and bad information. You gotta filter. Okay, what is actually what I need to continue on, and what I have to discard because this will not provide me anywhere. So those are good qualities that and skills that you might need to be able to be successful in this career.
Right. So, if a person is working for a corporate company and a person who is a freelancer, how would you define their workspaces to be like? Because you have worked for a company and you worked as a freelancer as well, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I work everywhere as a freelancer, as a company, as a consultant within a consultant company, all that.
So, how
So
was the difference over there in when you were working in a company and when you were working as a freelancer? Where is the difference you saw that when you had those two types of jobs um,
well, that
individually?
that's good question. I was speaking a few weeks ago with a friend, and she just made that career change. She was working on a consulting company, and I was
Mm,
working for a full-time company doing
mm,
support. So and since she had just started, we were talking, and she said, "Oh my God, this is so different." And it is different. When you work on a consulting company, you work via projects. So you go into one project, you finish that project, and you jump into another one, and jump into another one, and you gotta be jumping. Sometimes you either, depending on the type of knowledge that you have, you may also provide support or work with multiple companies at the same time, and you have deliveries and you have to deliver it on time. So it's
right.
like you work on a specific schedule
Fine.
to deliver those results, because they need it. So that's how it is life in a consultant company. It's a lot of stress, and you gotta be delivering and delivering, and you just jump from one thing to another one, and you keep on continuing. So it's in that it's you learn a lot because you jump from different industries and different companies,
Mhm.
but and the delivery pressure that you have. But when
Right.
you work on a full-time company, it's quite
Mhm.
different because you are fully dedicated to
Right.
one company, one problem, and in some others. And when I was in a consulting company, sometimes the previous consultants will not be able to solve a problem, and then I was the one who had to solve it at the end. But on a
Okay.
I mean, on a fully assignment with just one company, you cannot give the problem to another consultant or to another area, and you gotta solve it. And you might be dealing with the same issue for a long time. So at the
Right.
time, sometimes it gets uh, enervating, exacerbating, that you have to give a solution to a problem that you don't understand fully, that you don't know the consequences, that it may be new to you, but at the end
Mm,
you have to provide a solution because the company needs that solution. So
right.
it might be working on the same issue over and over and over again. So sometimes it
That gets a
gets
little boring.
uh, tired of working on the same thing all over again. So that's different. But you get learn more as you go into the company, and you learn the full what is it. What the company is, and what industry is it located, and the issues they face, and the commercial problems they find and the global problems they have. So you learn more about it than jumping from one company to another one.
Got it. So if a person, so this is for the audience. So if a person is sticking to one company and learning with the product and their life cycle and their entire system of working, there is a lot of learning involved with a slow paced, but it can be a little tedious and boring. But that person learns. But when a person is jumping from one company to another, that person is kind of half reading half the book and leaving it for later, right? That kind, you're saying.
Yes, 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 yes. But at the end, recall you have to solve the issues they have. So
Right.
my experience is a lot of learn when I jump from one industry to another one because one solution in one industry you may use it for another company. I mean, for the other company you're working, so you can bring a lot of options when you have issues and say, look, I've done A, B, C, and D. So which one you think will be best here? Say no, okay, let's go with D. No, let's go with C. With on D. So at the end, you just try it on but in both way, you learn. One, you have more deep knowledge, and the other one, you have full broad knowledge. Okay, so it's going deep or sideways. Okay, so anyway, you're gonna learn. Okay, so whatever option feels better. Some people just like to jump from one industry to another or from one client to another because they think it's more exciting. And there's people who say, no, no, I'm not fully learning. I want to have more knowledge, deep knowledge. So then I guess a career in just one company will be best for you.
Right, right. So I'll hop on to the last question, and it's kind of sad that I can't have too much questions for you now. We will have another episode for a different segment of SAP. So last question is: any advice to the new generation that are pursuing that goal of becoming a new SAP consultant? If you have any message or advice for them, if you could give.
Yes, let me share an experience. That was many years ago. I was working with this consulting company and I was leading the whole team that it was providing support. And I was assigned this girl. Her husband was a very seasonal experience, Bob programmer, which is the one who makes the programs, and the wife wanted to learn material management.
Right.
So she did the course, and he had help from him, of course. But at
Mhm.
the end, she hated the job. She was not able to understand
Okay.
the business need. She was not able to understand the users. So she had a really rough time. And then at the end, the client came to me and said, "Look, she's not providing any results. She's she's experiencing problems. We need somebody who's be able to help us out." So at the
Right.
end, my take out of this is before you decide to go into an SAP consultant career, you gotta fully understand that you're gonna have to know about the business. You have to learn, have business skills to understand, okay, what is it? Companies are all made to provide some revenue because at the end they can pay their clients, I mean the stock owners, the employees, uh, provide a service to the company, I mean to the community, or a product to the community. So at the end, it's you got to understand that you are in the middle of that. Also,
Right.
you have to deal with people, and if you don't have people skills, sometimes I had really bad users, ugly users, really nasty users, but some have been very nice users. And some with some of them you develop an empathy, and then you can work. And when they have problems, you feel, oh my God, it's my problem, it's not their problem. So if you don't have those skills and you hate people, SAP career might not be the best thing for you. Okay, if you don't
No.
like studying and learning, then might not be for you. If you are the person who likes to read, understand, and deal with people and solve problems and all that, then okay, this might be a good experience. And you have to also recall that you not only work with users, you also have to have business partners. Okay, so I have to work with the selling consultants, with the inventory and management consultant, with the production consultant, and sometimes there's a problem and then they say, no, it's your problem, and I say, no, it's not mine, it's yours, and then we get into discussions with them until we finally figured out, okay, let's work together and let's make try to figure out what's going on. So those are the things that you'll be experiencing. So if you like that,
Right.
and the last thing I said I will have to add is, I mean, this one will not happen over a day, over a project. This
Right.
happens over years of experience and working hard.
Right.
Okay. And sometimes dealing with the ugly and the bad that we have to face on a daily basis.
Right.
So it's this is a long-term career. This is not a fast-paced career. People
Right.
that usually, I mean, we don't see that many that they get highly promoted really quick all the way until the end, because you have to have a lot of knowledge, you have to have skills to manage people, deal with people, and know the businesses so you can provide solution. So this takes over time. So if you expect this to be, okay, I start an SAP career and in 2 years I'm gonna be the head owner of a whole company, is not realistic. Okay, so it takes time to learn, it takes time to deal with people and
That's
provide
true.
solutions and try to make as much as you can everybody happy, but sometimes it's impossible. So
Right.
you have to deal with that too.
Wow. Thank you so much for this podcast, Lewis. And after this, I'm already stating it as a fact that you are coming after some time later and do another podcast with us on your financial management on SAP Finance. So with this, so for the audience out there, for the listeners out there who have been listening to this podcast, they will know that what all they have to be prepared for to get in the battlefield, because this is a kind of a battlefield they have to get into and they have to fight it every single day. So this is a battlefield, but it's also a very a very good space to grow and learn and feel amazing. That's what I feel. So thank you so much again, and I wish you a belated Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So thank you, take care, and we'll see you again, and that's it. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Ritama, for this time. I really enjoy being with you, and I look forward to sitting down again with you and talk about my career and whatever I can express or help other people. I'm always ready to help. So if you want to reach out to me at any time, just go ahead and do it. Okay, I'll be
Okay.
here.
Thank you so much. So, bye. Take care.